My final journey into a state. The beginning is the end. The end is only the beginning.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Cool with the Raven Show. How are you guys doing out there? Thank you so much for joining. As a band called Had Enough.
Yeah.
So this is a really cool interview I've been looking forward to doing. I've known this guy for a little bit here and there. I've seen him. I have a good friend. Her name is Tish. That she's the one who kind of introduced me to this guy and a lot of his works. So let's, without further ado, here you go. Brandon, how's it going?
Going pretty good. Going pretty
Good,
good.
good, good. Thank you so much for
Mhm.
joining the show. I'm so excited about today in our
Mhm.
interview.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Thank you.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your band and kind of who's all in it and what you do.
Um, uh, well, honestly, I don't have a band. It's really just me. Had Enough is just kind of my stage name. I have had a band before. I had a backup band for it was for a pretty brief period. I had a full band at one point. My bass player, which is actually my business partner with my label Mugen Music, and we had a guitarist and a drummer, and we kind of were just like a jam band for a little bit, and then we unfortunately departed. I had a drummer and a bassist at one point. So we perform as a drummer, bassist, and DJ, and then me. Um, but for the most part, man, I just kind of went. So I just kind of stayed solo. When it comes to live shows, I'll perform with the DJ, and but I have been talking about bringing a drummer on for certain shows. Like, I do a lot of hip hop shows, and then I'll do shows. I've done shows with rock bands, metal bands, and but normally I tend to do pretty decent on those shows just with a DJ. The Most of my fan base are metalheads, punk kids, rock fans. Like, I actually have a very small percentage of hip hop heads. Um, not to say I don't have those fans, but I see more metalheads and rock fans in my crowd, and on social media whenever I get comments and fan messages and stuff like that. So, but I guess with the whole core and theme of my music, it appeals to them, which is fine because I used to be in a metal band. In fact, I look more like a metalhead now than I did back then, which is funny. So, but I'm a big horror movie fan. That tends to come out pretty much in my music videos, and it comes out in my songs as well. And just in overall, that's just kind of me. Like, I shop on Blackcraft Cult a lot. I wear horror shirts. I've got horror movie tattoos.
Love that.
Um,
Can you show us one?
just Yeah, my favorite would have to be I don't know if you can see it really well, Chucky, and then you got Jason, Frankenstein. Uh, I guess Jack and Sally could count
Oh,
from
that's
Nightmare
cool. Oh,
Before.
pull that. Yeah, pull that one close
Yeah,
to the camera. I want to see that one.
yeah,
Oh, you
yeah.
can't.
Everyone likes that one the most. So
That's
I
awesome,
got
though.
I got Saw, Jigsaw, and the other arm and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean I think people probably know my horror fanboyness a lot.
I'm the
So
same. I'm the same.
yeah,
I love horror
uh
movies. It's my favorite. It's my
yeah,
go-to. And
uh huh,
people think we're weird because like me and my girls, like they're 10 and 12, and that's what they
yeah,
love too. So like we'll sit down and we're like horror movie. Which one have we not seen yet?
uh, yeah,
You
right.
know. And people are like, "That's what you do together? You watch horror movies? Yeah. You got a problem with that?"
Uh, oh yeah, oh yeah, that's what I do.
Me
So yeah.
too. Me too. I love it. I love it. So tell me a little bit about the name. Where did that come from?
Um. Well, when I started Had Enough in 2000, October of 2008. Uh, um, I was in a metal band. We had recently kind of just departed. Actually, I think back, but I was more into writing lyrics, and but had enough kind of came from. Uh, I was going for a name that didn't sound like a rapper name. I mean, from day one, I've always tried to separate myself from rap stereotypes,
From the
and
grind. Mhm.
you know, I mean, there's little things. I mean, I like to drink Hennessy sometimes and smoke weed, so that's about it, you know. But other than that, like I'm a total outsider, which I kind of like it that way. But so I didn't want to come up with a typical rap name, and my idea was to have a name that sounded like a punk band.
Mm.
So I was a punk rocker in high school, and that whole mentality never left. And so Fed Up was actually the first name I wanted to come up with.
Mm.
I know a friend of mine thought I could come up with something a little bit better than that, but I also saw the name was taken. And then I saw a video. It's on YouTube, and it was a video. It was like kind of a cartoon, real like kind of corny cartoonish thing. It was basically against the Bush administration. It was towards the end. It was right after 9/11, all that stuff had happened, and it was like, had he had enough of the wiretaps or some shit like that? Oh, can I cuss?
Yes, you can.
Or, okay. Oh, okay. I should have asked that before, but I was like, oh, it's gonna come out. Okay. So I saw that. I kind of liked the idea, and I've always been a big fan of Rage Against the Machine and Public Enemy. So a lot of my earlier stuff was real political aimed, and so that's kind of what I did in the beginning. And so that's kind of where the name kind of stemmed from. I saw that, and I just thought, hey, I think that would be a cool name.
Yeah.
And even though my music it's transformed more into a personal thing. Like a lot of my songs are like journals, like personal journals that, you know, and that's kind of how I write them. So I kind of write them, but I write them as I'm talking to somebody else. Like I'm kind of explaining myself to them.
That's cool.
You know, and
Yeah.
or just in general, it's just speaking my mind is really what it comes down to. I mean, I just released a new song called Living Dead, and I kind of went on a little bit of a political rant very briefly, but it was just me. It was just at the time. That's just kind of how I was seeing things, you know, and I'm not really about telling people how to think or stuff like that, because that goes against everything that I really believe in. I don't believe in telling people, hey, you should think this or you should believe that, because that's, to me, I feel like that's the biggest issue, is that people are constantly trying to tell people what they think, what they should feel, what they believe, and stuff like that. To me, I'm just like, I see it this way, and I'm just expressing that.
Yeah,
So,
and I truly think that it's important to put the information out there, but let people just, you know, to make their own decision on how they feel about it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
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 I agree with that.
that's my big thing. But overall, like my music really is just it's just thoughts and feelings is really what it is. It's you know, and sometimes I'm very straightforward, and then sometimes I like to get a little poetic. So it just depends on the vibe. You know, I mean, my music ranges from just being some kind of, I consider it alternative hip hop, but like I have, you know, horror rap songs. I have something that's like slam poetry, jazz, something that's more rock influenced. Like I've done collaborations with rock vocalists and stuff like that, and pop vocalists. So I don't like to put it in a box. I like to know that I can go in different directions, just kind of however I feel.
Yeah, I love that. And you know, that's kind of the same thing we did, you know, as a band, even though we're still in the same genre, if you will, of hard rock metal. I mean, we've done something that was 90 beats per minute to something that was 172, you know what I mean? So, you know, yeah, I didn't want to be stuck in one little realm.
Yeah.
So I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, that was one of the things that kind of got me burned out on being in metal bands, was just kind of feeling like it was kind of one formula. And I still love metal, and I actually probably listen to it now probably more. But for me, it's just like if I ever feel like kind of going a metal direction, Obviously, hip hop and metal has a pretty good history of collaboration and stuff like
Yes.
that. So stuff like that. So right now, I can kind of just roam around.
I love that. I love that. But that's very
So
true though, because it's been proven time and time again in the last, I would say, 20 plus years. The rapid metal, whether it's a low form or a high form, has done some pretty awesome, amazing collaborations
oh
together.
yeah, yeah. I actually did a post on Facebook not too long ago where I was telling people that it was a post someone else did, and I kind of just threw in my own 2 cents. But I talked about all kinds of, from Onyx to Biohazard,
Mm.
even like Max from Soulfly did something with an underground rapper called Ill Bill. That was all kinds of Howard Johnson from Killswitch Gage. He did a song with him as well,
I love Howard.
and even just oh yeah, me too. But even with the old school, like I'm trying to think. Well, Ice T started Body Count, which was like
Mhm.
hardcore metal band, and yeah, there's all kinds of of collaborations between hip hop and metal throughout
Mhm.
history
Mhm.
that are still considered classics to this day.
Oh
In
yeah.
fact, tell you a funny story. I DJ'd a show not too long ago, and it was I had hip hop acts, and then I had a metal band close the show. And what I did was, in between songs, I was playing mashups.
Mm.
Like there was a mashup of like Eminem vocals on top of like Pantera instrumental,
Oh wow.
stuff like that. You can find all kinds of shit like that on YouTube.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I played all the little mashups just so. And I've done a lot of hip hop and metal shows, like at Badass Renee's. I've done back when I had a drummer. We used to do that a lot, and I'm going to go back to doing that probably once we're able to do shows again. But when Screaming Red Mutiny, when John Halata was alive and he was in the band, I did a show with them, and that's kind of what I did. Like I had hip hop openers, and then I had the metal bands close. But I had DJs. I'd send them like, "Hey, play." I'd say, "Hey, play Run DMC," and then play Megadeth or play Slayer, and stuff like that. So and
Nice.
the crowd liked it because everyone kind of got what they came for.
Right.
But also metalheads were asking me about this rapper that he liked a lot, and then the hip hop fans were blown away and the DJs were blown away about how heavy this band was,
Yeah.
and that's kind of been my thing. I like I like bringing different people together because a lot of times we get so caught up in the genre that we're used to listening to and we're used to playing, we forget about other things, and then and throughout time I saw that's when I kind of saw punk and metal kids starting to come to hip hop shows or starting to come early to see the hip hop acts. So
Yeah.
I saw minds starting to open up, and
And we were playing
yeah,
with Lane's Calling up there, and the opening act was a rapper, and he was so good. He was so good, and it's one of those things, and it went so well with the whole show. You know what I mean? It just went so well with the whole show, and I think a lot of people tend to think, oh, we can't do that, or oh, we shouldn't put that group at that group. No, you absolutely should check it out, find
oh,
out. You never know.
oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So,
That's
so tell me a little bit. I want to make sure we get in as many songs as I possibly can. So
okay.
tell me a little bit about um, the first song. I guess. Well, I'm gonna let you choose. Which one do you want to do first? We've got Had Enough, Bad Times, Hide the Scars, and Living. Had Enough is your name, but Pandemic or Living Dead.
Hey, it's really up to you. I mean, I'll tell any background story you want on
Well,
any song.
we were
Just
talking a
they
little
all
bit about this political thing with Living Dead. I kind of like to know a little bit
yeah.
more about that. Let's do that one first.
Okay. Living Dead. It was well. We all know we're being quarantined. We gotta stay home and all this stuff. So I just started doing a lot of writing. I've actually been more inspired or I have to get this done, or I have to get up at this time, I'm able to I spend a lot of time. I'm watching movies, I'm listening to music, and then just ideas come out. So Living Dead was, when this whole thing started, I remember talking to a friend, and he goes, man, I feel like we're living in a zombie movie. It feels like The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to come outside.
Right.
And even when you go to a store and how panicky people are, and just, it's like, I remember going to get groceries at Walmart, and then I went to get a couple snacks at Walmart. Then I went to Aldi, but just people are just so freaked. Don't want to come near you. It's almost like, ooh, I'm not a zombie. I'm not going to bite you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm perfectly healthy, but at the same time, like, but we don't know.
Yeah.
So everybody's real tense. And then when I was watching Night of the Living Dead, and I was like, I feel like I'm living this movie. And so I made the song, and really the song was, the first verse is me saying, well, I mean, this is what it feels like. I was watching the news, and then and I'm just sitting here like, something's not right. And then I'm listening to politicians talk, and I'm like, it's just for me, I'm a big student of psychology, so I'm able to kind of like listen to people, and sometimes I can kind of tell when people are either hiding something or they're just full of shit.
Yeah.
And I just kind of felt like that, so that's why I threw those in. But for the most part, I was talking about just how I feel about it, but overall how I'm seeing other people interact.
Yeah.
And then the second verse, I went a little chaotic. The second verse is about going stir crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm talking about getting drunk in my kitchen and basically going through all these different things in my mentally, because I had a couple stir crazy days where I'm just like, I don't know if I can go 20 more days with this shit. Like, I gotta.
Well, and I think,
you know what I mean? So
I think too, it's kind of
So.
weird because I have like this, I'm like arguing with myself, right? So it's like
Yeah.
in one sense, I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm leaving. I'm going out there. We're going to go do a show. We're going to go do this. Open, are you coming back up? This is dumb. And then in another sense, I'm like, no, you stay home. You,
Yeah.
It's like
I
this
mean,
fight is,
Yeah.
but I think
yeah.
one of the issues is the fact that the media for so long has been lying to us about so many stupid things that when they're there to be the ones that we go to find out the information, how are we supposed to trust them? So then
Yeah.
we're like, are they telling us the truth? Or are they not?
That was my big thing, and I said this to a friend of mine on the phone, actually the day before I wrote the song, and I said, man, government media have been lying to us our whole lives. Why would I believe them now? So it's
Yeah.
like, it's and I do a lot of reading. I don't
Same.
just take face value. So it's crazy because it's kind of controversial now to talk about it, because but so I made that song, and then the sound bites, it was from a real low budget like zombie flick I found on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
And it's a news feed. They're saying, hey, it's talking about a zombie outbreak. I actually had a couple people ask me what was up with when they said something about biting. What did that have to do with it? And they're talking about a zombie biting you. So really, as the song progresses towards the end, you realize this is not the coronavirus I'm talking about in the song. This is talking about a zombie outbreak and people getting bit and they become a zombie, So,
I love that.
So.
I love that.
So yeah, just had a little fun with it as well.
Yeah.
So,
Well, all right, you guys, here you go. This is The Living Dead by Had Enough.
What is certain is that this seemingly unexplainable mass hysteria continues to spread throughout the heartland, with injuries reported to be in the thousands.
What time to be alive, feels like our freedom's wrong. At least I got alcoholic drinks and good weed stock. I never believe the media, there's lies beneath the talks. That goes for both CNN, the sneaky fox. Government knows more than they speak, believe your deepest thoughts. People have always been cheating, now I see the greedy flock. There's always some facts they keep in the chest, and best believe they got the secret keys to keep it locked. I'm waiting for that 1K check to reach the box, so I can keep investing in all the cheapest stocks. I see an opportunity to reap the cash. I don't sell for broke, that's the joke, but you don't see me laugh. We to be quarantined for 4 more weeks is bad, unless you're an introvert like me and okay to leave the pad. Other people hate the lockdown, they screaming mad, more upset than an orphan kid that needs a dad.
David, the staff here says they haven't seen anything close to the sheer volume of casualties. Badly injured, very frightened people are pouring in, no exaggeration, by the hundreds. And we're told that most of the injuries are bites.
I'm going stir crazy, pulling out my hair and laughing. Fuck this travel ban, I'm trying to get drunk with a bear in Alaska. Might do it anyway, don't care what happens. If I get caught, oh well, life's a bitch, Carol Baskin. Who the fuck staring me back in the mirror? Better get back, I swear I'll tack if you get nearer. Don't mind me, yes I have to get weirder. I have no choice but the color black is all I'm wearing. Social distance can get lonely in minutes. I'm not ignoring your text, bitch, hold up for a minute. But beware my dome as a whole, no one can feel it. I just miss going to shows and getting stoned with my bitches. Binging Netflix, trying not to miss shit. Eating non-stop after smoking pot as I'm itching. Drinking mad beer, don't give a shit if I spill it. Getting smashed in my kitchen, talking shit to the spirits.
Just a few minutes ago, we spoke with one of the doctors that has been on call since this morning when the patients arrived.
We have seen cases of complete digit, finger extraction, deep throat laceration, even a large section of flesh torn away as if by a rabid dog or wild animal.
We've been told by nurses there have been complications.
Almost all wounds have shown immediate infection. Many have went into toxic shock. One patient...
Have there been fatalities?
Excuse me, please. I'm sorry, I have to go.
I was coming home from work, and I saw this woman in the road, and she was moaning or something, so I went out to go see. I thought she got hit by a car or something like that, and I went to go reach out to help her, and she bit me in the arm, scratched up in the face, and I just took off.
Doctors are still at a loss as to the reason behind these attacks, and the situation doesn't seem to be improving. The past few minutes, I've seen 4 ambulances and several cars pull up with victims seeking emergency care.
Oh yeah, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Yeah, and okay, and I have to ask this because this is the one part of that song that every time I heard it, I laughed. Carol,
Me?
yeah, did you watch all of it? The Joe Exotic Tiger King?
I think after a few episodes, and then I kind of just like, okay, I get where this is going. After the 3rd episode, I didn't really get any further on it. I kind of so like, and then I saw all the memes, so I kind of knew where it was going. So regardless, like Facebook was just going to spoil it for me, but I definitely saw enough to kind of know exactly what I was watching because the first episode I wasn't real sure.
I binge watched
Yeah.
all night. I binge watched it. I'm just gonna say, this is how I felt after watching it.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like I just wasted my night, but did I? That it's like, nah, Did you know
It's
he
true.
ran for number 1 president, and number 2 he ran for governor of Oklahoma? Did you
I didn't know
that?
that. I mean, I had no idea who this guy was
He
till
got
till this.
3rd place. He got 3rd place.
Yeah, that's
19% of people in Oklahoma voted him in. For real. True story. So yeah, just if you get a chance, if you get a night where you just want to get away for a moment and just feel like your life is great,
Yeah, that's
go
true.
watch the rest of it.
Yeah. That was kind of when I watched Ozark. I kind of realized I don't have
I've
any
been
real
hearing about
problems.
that. Yeah. So what is that
I mean, I know
about?
that's a movie that real. It's like It's a family who it's kind of hard to explain because like I know the beginning is I think it's a financial some type of financial agency that the father who has a family that he has, and then they start laundering money from like the Mexican drug cartel, and then
Oh,
uh,
is this a true story or is it just a?
no, it's just a show, but it kind of has like a Breaking Bad kind of vibe to it. It's just a it's a really intriguing drama. People get killed off, and sometimes it's the characters you like a lot, and then it just comes out of nowhere, and then it's hard not to binge watch it because every episode's a cliffhanger. It ends on a cliffhanger, and you're like, but they got good, likable characters. They got characters you hate, and you're hoping they get killed, and it just keeps going and going, and then it's a good show, and for the life of me, I can't remember the lead actor's name. He's been in a few movies. I'm bad with names in general, so I'll probably forget the name of my favorite rock star if it came down to. It's 80. I've been 80 since I was 5, so
right.
it's just it's a struggle I've had, but he actually directed the season, which I was actually kind of impressed by.
Yeah,
I found so yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll have to maybe check it out. Maybe.
Yeah, Ozark's good. That, and I probably watched the Ted Bundy documentary probably a million times.
Oh wow, yeah.
That's on Netflix, and
well, I think being a horror movie guru. As for loving horror movies in general, you're obviously going to be in that same realm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you get kind of psychologically interested in kind of what makes them tick, it's.
You do. The one I was telling you about that's well, she's getting ready to turn 10. She's a pistol, and she's like every side of Raven that is ornery is in this little ball of a 9-year-old.
I see, yeah.
she had an apple fight with my bassist. And she
won.
Yeah. And she won. He walked out with, I don't know, some ice thing on his head, and he's like, yeah, I'm done. So yeah, if I ever need a bodyguard when she grows up, right there. So tell me a little bit about, obviously you probably had shows scheduled.
I had a whole tour scheduled.
Yeah, so
and I'll actually tell you a little story on that. I haven't really told the story yet. It was the album I just put out called Open Wounds, which it's everywhere. It's on the digital platforms, the thing we see a million times when we put out new music.
Yeah.
So we had that out. I had the album release show in Tulsa at Blackbird Pearl. We had the whole Corona thing kind of already was. It came out, but it was still kind of like a media thing. You know what I mean? Like, some of us were like, hey, man, we don't want to go. We want to stay home. And some people were like thinking, hey, it's another bird flu. It's stuff like that. So it's still like everyone was kind of so it wasn't. So we had the show, went great. And then I left for Oklahoma City. And we had a tour, and it wasn't till the day I had like 2 days off, and it was the day before our Oklahoma City date that the president went on and said, hey, we got to limit gathering to 10 people. I said, okay, we're fucked.
Yeah.
And it was nerve wracking. It was like, I didn't feel too good about continuing because I understood it was becoming more of a serious matter.
Right.
But it was just a tough thing for me because I said, like, I'm an 80s baby. Yeah. Tons of I feel like I've seen this before, and it came and it went, but it seemed like it became more serious. Then when they started limiting, I started seeing all the concerts canceling. That made me nervous. Yeah. And I was like, man, I don't want to it was a really tough decision to make. Mm-hmm. And when they limit it to 10 people, that's when I was like, okay, this might be really serious if they're going that far. Yeah. And furthermore, with half the shows we have, 10 people is the lineup. That means no fans can get in the show.
Exactly.
So I had to hit everybody up, and I mean, it's unfortunate because we were supposed to do Oklahoma City, Sioux City, Iowa, Omaha, Nebraska, Fort Worth and Denton, Texas, Wichita, Kansas was one we were going to be at. So it was probably, out of all the tours I booked on my own, it was probably the best one I had because it all just kind of came together.
Yeah.
And that was, so it was very heart crushing. So it was like, man, like, because it looked great. Like, I've lost money on tour, I broke even. You know, and I told the guys I had everything calculated. I said, I think we're going to have great turnouts because I was getting fans from other cities excited about it. Promoters were excited about it.
Yeah.
The local artists in each city, the promotion, people are pushing it. So it's just like, this looks great.
Yeah.
And
you're thinking, oh, I might come out ahead this time, you know?
Yeah. But I talked to the guys. I said, hey, I think when this is over with and it's safe and we can come back to doing shows and tours again, I think it's all going to be booming more now than ever because people are going to miss it. I know I already miss it.
Me
so
too. Me too.
I said I said, who knows? I might be able to book even better tours. So I think so I told the guys, hey, just keep positive about the situation. I mean, we'll bounce back. But what I did was I was in Oklahoma City. And I knew it was over. So, but I said, man, I just want to have a bowl of French fries at some restaurant, and before I leave town to go back to Tulsa. So, I was at the mall in Oklahoma City, and I think there was a restaurant inside the mall called Pepper Grill. So I sat down at the bar, and I had French fries, had a glass of water, and that's when the TV was on, and that's when they said what they said about the 10 people minimum, and I was like, oh, great. And the wait staff was so cool. Like the bartender was totally cool. It was like nothing was going on, even with TV saying, don't go to restaurants, don't do nothing, you know. And even people in the restaurant were giggling. Like, I just you know, but at the same time, at that time, I did not realize that was the last time I was going to get to be in a restaurant for a while.
Right.
But I'll tell you, and I'm not one of these people that brags about doing, you know, good deeds, but I am proud of the fact that I thought about that, and then I figured, wow, I knew they're gonna shut down restaurants next. It wasn't until I got home that I found out they actually did it. Yeah. But I mean, I tipped the bartender pretty well because I just had a feeling that's what they're going to do next. Is that these people will probably be out of the job next. So
money that she had for a while, you know.
So
that's crazy.
It was a very overwhelming, like,
the whole music industry is being super affected. It doesn't matter if you're local, regional, international, label. It doesn't matter. The whole entertainment business is being affected, and it's crazy because like we were going down to we were going through Oklahoma actually to go to South by Southwest when we got the call. It's canceled.
I think South by Southwest was the first one to cancel, weren't they? Or
yeah, I think they were. Yeah. It seems this is how it went though. There's so South by Southwest is huge, and they have like the big main stages, the big side stages, and then you have like your venues throughout, and they all like play throughout the whole week and a half or whatever, or 2 weeks, I think it is. It's like 2 weekends, and so it's a huge deal, and that goes on every year. And we got the call that it's gonna be. But you know, ironically, back in October, we named our tour the Infectious Tour.
Oh, God.
Right, because we were like invading Texas. It was going to be like nothing but like a month and a half of Texas. You know, we did have Indiana, Kentucky, and you know, states like this in Oklahoma and Kansas, but it was mostly Texas, right? So we were like, oh yeah, this is a pretty infectious because we were going to get all around. But you know, you probably realize just as well as me that even though this has been canceled, this is gonna suck to have to reschedule and all of these things. All the venues that I've worked with in Texas, especially Texas, those venues are so great people, and they're like, we'll do whatever we need to, Raven. We'll reschedule whatever we need to do, because I know they're hurting too, and that's something I think that needs to be brought up.
Right.
Is Chris with he just opened the venue, the Railhead.
Yeah, Railhead and Lawton, the Railhead Saloon, or are we talking about a different?
That's in Texas. It's in
venue?
Texas.
Oh, in Texas. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he just.
I was thinking
reopened
of the Railhead Saloon in Lawton, Oklahoma.
Oh yeah, I played there too.
That's
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it there.
But I was wanting to play at the Railhead there in Texas, and they've had like I guess some amazing bands play at that venue. So if you ever get a chance to go down there, but yeah, I feel so bad for him because him and other businesses like him because he's in that smaller business spectrum, and for whatever reasons, the Senate has put a hold on all of the small business loans because they're like supposedly capped out. I'm like, how can you be tapped out on this money when this was supposed to go to them? What did you do with it?
Right.
What did you do with it? This wasn't supposed to be for your raise. This was supposed to be for helping people. Okay.
Right. That's true.
It's crazy.
It's very true.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to this next song for sure. This next one, I want to do Bad Times. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, last year I got to do a show in New York. It was on the rooftop of Daily Motion.
Wow.
And it was Rob Schwartz with Humag. He's actually my label's distribution partner. They're associated with Orchard, Sony Orchard,
Nice.
which is the distribution that we have.
Yep.
And so he had
Congratulations on that,
I believe
by the
it
way.
was. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's been really cool. And
we just got signed with them too, so I'm looking forward to see what happens with that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So we did an event, and it was on the rooftop of Daily Motion. And Rob, he's very well involved. He's very close friends with a lot of hip hop legends. And I got to do it was hosted by Kango Kid, which is from the legendary hip hop group called UTFO. They had a song called Roxanne Roxanne back in the 80s. And so that was cool. I've been a big fan of them. So, and he is one of the original pioneers of hip hop. So he's as legendary. He's one of the top legends. So just to get introduced by him, get to meet him, talk to him was an extreme honor. And then and there were a lot of people. There were record executives. There were media people. There was even movie producers there. Just different. And then there's other people. There was Computer, who used to be affiliated with Mobb Deep. He was there and did a performance. I actually got to meet him. He actually approached me after my set, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. The weather was perfect. It was probably like a little windy.
Yeah.
But it was cool. I mean, it's it's New York, it's the East Coast, but it was probably one of my best performances I've got to do. Just for the first time play on the East Coast and stuff like that. So I wrote Bad Times specifically for that show. And really the song was just about all the financial and real life stuff I was going through.
Yeah.
And because I wanted to make a song specifically for that, and I wanted to have that old school hip hop vibe to it.
Yeah.
So and so that's what Bad Times was really. It was really about my life, like months before that event, but it was made for that.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
So the original song Bad Times actually had a different beat, a different like delivery and flow, and so but with Orchard, I couldn't use the original instrumental just because of licensing rights and stuff like that. So I got a different beat. I kind of switched up a little bit, but it's it's the same lyrics, it's the same idea, you know what I mean? So same story. But
Right.
Bad Times, it was just about I talk about financial stuff, but it's really there's a really optimistic mindset about wanting to do something great regardless of all the obstacles that you have in front of you. So that's
Yeah, I love that.
really what it's about.
Well, that's really cool.
Mhm.
And see, this is what I'm talking about. I know all
Yeah.
of you out there
Yeah.
as the audience as well
Yeah.
agree on. They love to hear these backstories about where did this song come from? How did it start?
Yeah.
Why did it
Mhm.
start? You know, a lot of musicians say, well, I want you to take the song as you want. But when you explain like
Yeah.
how it was created, where you were at that
Yeah.
time, you know, these are important things I think that are truly important to those out there that love the song. And it makes a
Oh, yeah.
lot of the everybody I've ever met, it makes it even more of a deeper meaning to them, knowing that,
Mhm.
you know?
Oh, yeah, definitely, definitely. I always figure it's that, people have experienced similar to what I have, or they have at least been in the same mind. They really have the same thoughts, and and I think that's really the cornerstone of music
Mm-hmm.
is
I agree with
that
that.
we're also similar. So
Yeah.
I think being able to relate to your audience or the audience being able to relate to you is a big thing.
Yeah,
So
I absolutely agree with that. All right, you guys, here you go. Here is Bad Times by Had Enough.
I'm the sickest MC that have discovered a cure for. Look, I like dismissed, but I relate to the cure more. Made some connects, now I'm busy trying to secure more. Torn to the core by lid, what did I need a nurse for? No more debates, I'm hustling, hit the foreign states. Just trying to win, I survived all my worst days. Yeah, okay, I realize it's gonna take more than faith. Just know every grin I sport means I'm hiding more pain. Wanna stack cash, hate a wife for 4 days. Haters got a poor case like attorney making 4K. They'll never get the 4 base, stick to foreplay. Why dominate, stab more dames than Norman Bates. You rappers flex so much, you rip your pants. I'm ahead of the game, it's sad y'all missed your chance. Me still down with the wide, very little chance. Cause I'm cool and single, like a stripper dance. Life's full of problems, keep my head straight. How can I progress with all this dead weight? Can't get out of bed, going through bad times. Someone please tell me what I did last night. Life's full of problems, keep my head straight. How can I progress with all this dead weight? Can't get out of bed, going through bad times. Someone please tell me what I did last night. Someone please tell me what I did last night. Someone please tell me what I did last night. I want nothing to do with the social circles. Life's moving fast and I'm moving slow like turtles. Every flaw I ever had, I wrote them in my journal. One day this will all end, then we'll go to commercial. What's a stage show when all you got's a raise flow? So you rappers will fake soul, you better take notes. I deal with depression, trying to let the pain go. I don't even know how I seem to remain whole. This music's all I really got to really heal me now. I'm curious if the real can really hear me out. Just listen to my lyrics to truly fill me out. I like films with kills and mills with the filthy mouth. Trying to live my life with the weight of the world on my aching shoulders. It's a daily struggle for me and try to stay sober. I'm broke as a joke with nothing trying to take over. But the day I run you haters over, if the range roar, it's game over. Life's full of problems, keep my head straight. Going through bad times. Someone please tell me what I did last night.
Oh, love it. Love it, love it, love it. What a great music video.
that makes me miss going to the barber shop.
Right? Ah,
I'm like,
so did
yeah,
you do that?
they had a ball fag on.
Who did the filming of that? Whoever,
Oh, his name is Bradley Eugene. He does most of my videos. He's a rapper too. One of my good friends, and yeah, we actually did that in my house.
Oh, I love it.
Because I have a bar. I have a bar in my house and liquor, and then all kinds of different glasses. So I was talking to him. I was like, "Oh, let's make it like a real classy video." And he's like, "All right, well, get glasses on, get a suit, look like
Well, you looked
get all
great.
classy." Yeah.
You
So,
looked great.
we
And
did
as
a
for
couple
you guys
of
out there as well, I want to see some hearts for them. So you guys make those hearts go. Make those hearts go. Show them how much you love that music video. All right. Sweet. All right. Continue. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. Yeah. Well, we did a couple of videos, not a couple of videos, a couple shots, like in Tulsa, like a Blackbird in Lot 6, but we only kept a little bit. We it was really dark when we went out there, so we didn't get a whole lot of footage that came through. But so we just kind of kept it at my house. I have a poker table, so that's where the poker game scene kind of came in, and
I love it.
so we just try to get creative with it sometimes.
So do you have like anything you're working on right now? Do you have anything that's coming up? Kind of what's going on with you?
Yeah, I actually just announced today. On Wednesday, I'm actually releasing like a compilation mixtape.
Nice.
It's called Stir Crazy, and the Living Dead's on it. There's a couple songs. Basically, it's a compilation. There's new stuff that I've made. There's collaborations I've made with several Tulsa artists, a couple Texas artists that I'm friends with, and then other stuff like songs I released last year, like Taxi Season. I did a song with Labor Love with my label mate Sprout the Antihero. I know he's from Wichita, so I think you might know him.
I do.
Yeah,
I played with
good.
him a couple of
Yeah.
times. We actually did
Yeah.
a couple shows together on purpose.
Awesome. Yeah. So I got that, and then there's a couple songs that I did like years ago that I never released. So it's just like a compilation.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm actually putting it just on Bandcamp, exclusively on there.
Okay.
And it's 14 songs. I'm only selling it for $8, so I kind of made the best deal I could.
That's
But
awesome.
but I figured, hey, I came up with the idea. I figured it'd be perfect to put it out right now. So I'm doing that. And so yeah.
Yeah. So you guys
That's as far
definitely
as
check that out. Now that's going to be on just exclusively Bandcamp, correct?
yeah. I just I was actually talking to my PR guy last night about it, and then he liked the idea. He said, I like the direct to consumer idea. He's a big fan of Bandcamp, and I told, and really like as far as like licensing and all the business stuff that we're not always a fan of. Can't really put it on Orchard, but just as far as all the beats and instrumentals, how there's just different legalities that get involved with them, but they're just random beats I found on the internet, got inspired to make a song, and then didn't think about the outcome of it. But I like all the songs, and I like a lot of the songs that I did recently. A couple artists like Andrew Live. Everybody in Tulsa kind of knows Andrew, man. He's a great musician. Me and him did a little acoustic song together. And I basically, and then a lot of it was just email. I just sent them a song. They emailed me their verse or their chorus. Before the whole pandemic, we were already working on a song here and there, so I had people over. And so, yeah, man, it's the compilation. And what I really like about Stir Crazy is that you actually get to see how versatile I am. Like, you get my dark songs, you get some of my jazzy stuff, kind of like Bad Times was, some of the lyrical stuff, emotional, personal songs.
Yeah.
And then another song I put out last year, which got a really good response. It was Arthur Fleck, which is basically a song where I pretend that I'm Arthur Fleck from the movie Joker.
Oh.
And so I put that out last year, and people fucking loved it. And then I started playing it live. The response was great. It was just an idea I had.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so I'll probably re-release that as a single again. I didn't really. It was crazy. I didn't push it a whole lot like I usually push songs, but it got a really good response. So I said, okay, I got to put that on there too. So just stuff like that. And but yeah, Bandcamp it's a really good way for artists to put music out. It works kind of like a record label itself. And so I'm kind of just I decided to go with a different route. I said, instead of saying, hey, it's on all digital platforms, how about just one website and give it a shot, see what it does.
Do the exclusive first, and then get everybody to want to know. Want to know. Gotta know.
So
that's awesome.
But I'll continue working on stuff. I know there's another project I wanted to do. Probably I'll probably spend the rest of the year perfecting it, put it out next year. But there's an EP I kind of had in mind, and Mosaic, which is a good friend of mine. He produced half of Open Wounds, and he's just really diverse, really dope at making beats. And he's like me. He used to be in a metal band back in the day, and then does hip hop now. So me and him have a lot in common, and so we're gonna be getting together pretty soon to toss ideas. He's like me. He's at home making beats and stuff like that. So me and him are gonna get together about something.
Well, I have to tell you, I really think that you are one of those people that just has this amazingly beautiful creative mind, and the world is such a better place with you being in it. So I want you to know that. I think that a lot of the stuff that you're doing is amazing. You've been in this business, like you said, you really kind of came out with Had Enough in 2008 kind of, and so it's you have done a lot of great things, and I see a lot of amazing things coming for you in the future for sure.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're very welcome. We should do something. We should absolutely do something at some point. I'd love that. That would be really cool. You should put a new spin. The people wouldn't expect that. They'd be like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
That'd be fun. It'd be a lot of fun. So tell me, this next song that I want to show everybody, I love this. I love this song. I really, really do.
Cool.
This one is Hide the Scars.
Yeah. That's a deep one. So it's kind of hard to say because obviously the song kind of takes a really deep dive into depression, like self-harm, self-hate, stuff like that. It's not really, it's an ugly conversation nobody really wants to have. But that's something I like to delve into music because, there are conversations people don't want to have, but they still exist. And so I wrote that song. You listen to it, what it's about. There's nothing really hidden in there. It's pretty much one of those in your face kind of things. And then when we made the video, we shot mostly green screen. Actually, not the whole video is green screen. So we did that, and I told him, hey, let's make it look apocalyptic, which by the time we put it out, it felt like everything was apocalyptic. Right. But we added little extra things because I felt like, hey, let's add like a story to it. And so that's where I found the video of the girl who was like cutting her slices. Kind of really plays a big part into kind of what the song is kind of suggesting. So
yeah.
This one
hit me.
Gave it a really vision.
Yeah, when I listened to this song, I was like, you know what I mean? You just have to sit back and just. But I love songs like that because it kind of brings you back to that realism of.
It does.
It's okay. It's that song that at the end of it, you're like, you know what? I'm human. It's okay. And
I think so.
Yeah. Thank you for making this song because it's an amazing song.
Oh.
And I'm really excited about you guys out there to see this song. So here you go. This is Hide the Scars by Had Enough.
My soul's finally gone, finally apart from me. Just waiting for a part of me to pardon me. Wish this wasn't my life, wish it was all made up. Some nights I want to go to sleep and never wake up. I feel trapped within thoughts I don't want to partake. Trying to fit all my baggage into one small case. Panic attacks more intense than a car chase. Tell me how much more heartache can a heart take? Can't breathe sitting alone in this dark place. So I'm stuck screaming for help until my jaw breaks. Turn off the lights, yes I like it dark. In prison alcoholic, I live behind the bars. How can I breathe? Tore my insides apart. I tattoo my skin just to hide the scars. Hide the scars, hide the scars. I tattoo my skin just to hide the scars. Hide the scars, hide the scars. I tattoo my skin just to hide the scars. I'm like the little kid that hates the sitter. Drown my sorrow once I take the picture. Express my thoughts as I paint this picture. I'm frozen in place, so just take the picture. What did I do wrong? Is it too late to figure? Too much to stomach after I ate the dinner. This world is cold, so I brave the winter. But I hate my reflection, fuck it, I'll break the mirror. Turn off the lights, yes I like it dark. In prison alcoholic, I live behind the bars. How can I breathe? Tore my insides apart. I tattoo my skin just to hide the scars. Hide the scars, hide the scars. I tattoo my skin just to hide the scars. Hide the scars, hide the scars. I tattoo my skin just to hide the scars. Turn off the lights, yes I like it dark. In prison alcoholic, I live behind the bars. How can I breathe? Tore my insides apart. I tattoo my skin just to hide the scars. Hide the scars, hide the scars. I tattoo my skin just to hide the scars. Hide the scars, hide the scars. I tattoo my skin just to hide the scars.
I see you back there. Love it, love it, love it. You're like, it's my
Took
moment
advantage
to
of
go to
the
the bathroom.
Yeah, I took advantage of it.
Love it, love it. It's okay. I sit like in the same area, but I get up and during the song so I can listen and all that stuff. Yeah, that song though, God, every time that song just gets me. Oh.
Hey, I mean, that's the point, you know. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's to me, if it doesn't, if people don't relate to it or it doesn't affect them in some way, then I think then
You know, I think
I didn't really do what I was trying to do, you know. So,
I agree. I agree. And you know, I think something that people need to realize is that, you know, we all want to be happy and we all want a good life and we all want all these great things. But you know what? With what comes with sadness comes understanding. And I
Yeah.
think that if you were to evolve into the person that you're truly supposed to be, unfortunately, you do have to go through these certain tragedies in your life to become the person you're
Yeah,
truly supposed to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
that-
It does. It
Uh-huh.
sucks. And everybody handles that pain differently. And I actually got into an argument with somebody once that was telling me her pain was more than this other girl's pain. And I said, listen, she never went through your pain. She went through her own pain. So her pain is her pain. You can't unjustify what she's been through just because you feel you've gone through more.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
You know, you can't justify a person's level of pain when they've never experienced it. Even if you have been through it more, they've never been to that level. They've been to the level that they've been at. So that level is high for them, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I was actually
Definitely.
a psychology major. I was like a year and a half before becoming
Awesome.
a psychiatrist. Isn't that crazy? Raven
Yeah.
the psychiatrist. But no, but you know, it's, look at me, you know.
All right. I feel you. I feel you. But yeah. So Hide the Scars. It's just to do a little brief plug. It is on the recent album Open Wounds that I just put out. So that's on all the digital platforms. But you can also go to my website. You can order the actual CD, and which I still try to press those. I know people tell me that CDs are a dying dinosaur,
I
something
don't
like that.
agree
But
with that. I even have people.
I don't.
People out
I don't
there
either.
that want like the vinyls. They want vinyls.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
But I sell CDs at almost every show, so
Mhm.
it's never been a point where I looked at my box of CDs and said, wow, they're not moving.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
exactly.
so it's just some people, they want that. And I think even if, like for me, like I listen to digital, like I listen to Spotify and YouTube probably more than anything.
Do you know
But
who
at the
I
same
think
time,
it truly affects?
I'm a collector though.
Do you know who I think it truly affects? And I'm speaking just out of what I've seen as a performer and musician.
Yeah.
I think it truly affects the international bands. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, I mean, yeah, they sell their stuff for a lot more than what we do, but they don't sign it. They don't get the intimate moment at a concert with their fan
Right.
and the signing. I think that's where they have kind of lost in a certain realm of CDs or things like that. I think that a lot of times, and I understand why to a degree, but at the same time, I think their VIPs are just crazy expensive. And I think that they need to step down for a moment and say, you know what, here are these people who truly want to meet us. And I get it. You'd have thousands of people if you could make it cheap. But at the same time, instead of, why don't they do a drawing? Do a drawing.
Yeah.
Do a drawing of like 50 people, 60 people, 100 people. Do a drawing, something like that, to where these people can actually come in, meet you, talk to you, have sign their stuff. I mean, these people look up to you, and here you are charging them $600 for a VIP. Come on.
Yeah. I've always been big on the artist to fan interaction.
Same.
I respond to comments. I reply to messages. Only time I've ever left anyone on red if they said something really fucking creepy and weird, and it's but people do that sometimes.
Yes.
It's not even a fan. It's just some random. They want to see what kind of reaction they can get. And
yes.
Sometimes I tend to have fun with it, but like when it's an actual genuine fan or something like that, I respond to everything, and then at shows. And I've told this to any band member I've ever had in the past. I said, for me, like after the set's done, merch table's where I go.
Yeah, same.
Especially
I take like a quick 5 minute to like, okay,
I'll catch my breath, stuff like that. But I definitely aim to go there, and and I have the graphs or people. I know for a lot, people like buying it strictly for me. And I know me as a fan, like whenever I've met bands and musicians and rappers I like, me getting to buy it from them is super cool.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And that brings me up the other question I have for you. And it's something I thought about too, just by saying what we were talking about, as for like the international bands and doing the VIPs. Do you think they literally are not allowed to do what we talked about? Do you think it's not up to them anymore? Do you think when you get to that level, it's not up to them anymore?
I've talked to different like industry people. I've I met a few of them in New York, but even then, like, I met record executives, I met artist management managers and stuff like that. So and then I've met artists who used to be with a label or used to have that. So I've gotten to get a little bit of information just from the inside, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But for what I've told, some of them are like, and then just from experience, like but I've told different things. A lot of times they said, if it's really depends on where you're at. If you're I mean, if you're Ozzy Osbourne or you're Post Malone or you're Snoop Dogg, no, they don't want you just hanging out with people because you're probably going to get mugged or something like that. Then there's a liability issue, you know, stuff like that. Like, it's just common. Like, you're that big. Yeah, you got crazy fucking fans,
Yeah.
you know? But also, from a marketing standpoint, there's, you know, they're that huge. You know, they're larger than life, really. And that's not boosting anyone's ego. That's just the reality. I mean, you can't tell me Ozzy is not larger than life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't care if he's my next door neighbor. He's still the god of heavy metal to me, and he always will be. You know, and Snoop Dogg is probably one of the early influences I have next to Ice Cube, you know, and stuff like that. So, you know, I can meet Ice Cube when he's 60 years old in a wheelchair, and I still think he's one of the greatest rappers of all time. You know what I mean? So, so I think for a label that's invested that much time and money to make them that huge,
Yeah.
they're like, okay, well, we're not going to, you know, lower the bar. Okay, you can just hang out with people at a bar like you're a regular. So there's different entities involved.
Mhm.
I remember I did a show with Tech Nine years ago,
Love
and then
Tech Nine.
and then he is fucking cool.
Mm.
Anyone? So he did his meet and greet, and since I was one of the openers, I kind of got jump for the picture and all that. And I got to hang out, watch, and do sound check. Their tour manager told me, you know, you cannot, because I got too close to, you know, to where the barricade's at, and he told me, hey, you got to go over there. And then, I can't remember which artist on the Strange Music label it was, but I remember him hanging out with me and one of the artists I was performing with, and he was just talking to us, just like we were cool and all buddy, and then the tour manager came in and said, hey, you guys can't be backstage. It's for the touring acts only. And it's just like out of nowhere. And as close as we thought we could to getting to hang out with them,
Yeah.
you know, tour manager got in the middle of it. Now, me personally wasn't mad at him because he was doing his job, but I think it's like that. Like, they still have to. But I think it's also you don't know who's a crazy fan.
Yeah.
Just because we're artists too, we're still, to them, we're the local artists.
Yes.
And he doesn't know. He knows. He knows. And I can say any local rapper who got to do a show at Tech Nine, the fanboy, the fanboy is a high potential. It's a high of him being a fanboy, him trying to maybe steal something that has his name on it. You just don't know, because you can't just, you know, you just don't. So it's just little things like that, I think.
Yeah.
And but for me personally, I like to hang on to being. I like hanging at a show. I like playing dive bars. I love playing the big music venues. I love those too. But man, I like being able to have a drink with a
talk with your
fan
fans.
or
Yeah.
other artists, talk to people.
Yep.
That's just something I enjoy.
Something that I noticed too is that when you get to do that, you get to hear stories about a song that you created that helped them through a time, or you get to hear about you know, something that your music has done for them in their life, or whatever, is that you wouldn't maybe normally have heard. You know what I mean? So it's important.
Yeah. I'll tell you a little story about kind of independent hip hop and kind of where it's at right now. Like, I'm sure you've heard of. I don't know if you ever heard of Tom McDonald and Mercules.
I love him.
Yeah.
I love him. Yeah.
And then Sadistic, who he's not as popular, but he still has a really good. He's had a really good status. I did shows with him when we started off. I'm a huge fan, and I follow everything he does. And he hits the top 10 on iTunes every time he releases a project. Like, he's literally real close to Tech Nine, but he's nowhere near as the fame. And him and Tech Nine are actually friends too. But he, every time I've gone to a show of his, he's there hanging out with everybody. The only time he goes to a green room is maybe 5 minutes before he goes on, and that's just preparation.
Wow.
and everybody, all his fans know his real name, and so he treats them like family. He's just, I
Yeah,
mean,
I
he's
need I
he
need 30
loves,
minutes in the green room. It's gonna take a little bit to
yeah.
do this.
But yeah, like I love green rooms, but to me, it's a good, it's a good place to go to before performances
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, but don't
So,
hang out there all
but
night.
but, uh, but to bring up Mercules and Tom McDonald, what I was kind of going for was, now you won't get a chance to really see them until after their show, but they do free meet and greets. In fact,
That's cool.
I'm noticing a lot of independent artists in the hip hop genre, they do that. Like,
Yeah, I
I
didn't know
mean,
that. I would love to
they
see Tom McDonald.
that's he's super cool. Mercury's super cool. Like, they'll talk to you. They'll sit there, talk to you. They'll autograph anything. They'll take pictures. They'll sit and have a conversation with you. They're really down to earth people, and but also they're very internet famous. In fact, I mean, the internet's pretty much the world now, so they're pretty much famous. But they believe in, hey, you paid $20 to see me. There's no reason you should just pay $50, $100 to meet me. They
Yeah.
think that's bullshit.
Yeah.
He goes, you got merch, you paid your hard-earned money, and that's kind of becoming a trend now within independent hip hop, is to have the free meet and greet. And what's so funny was, in hip hop, that seems so unlikely,
Mhm.
because it's always been a get money genre for a while.
Yeah.
At least within like the late or the early 2000s is kind of when it kind of became that, so for
Well,
them,
I
so that's kind of
think that when you're talking about the early 2000s too, there was a lot of people behind the scenes trying to run how hip hop was supposed to go. And
Mhm.
I think there became like this backlash, right? This backlash from all these artists that said, I am me. You cannot tell me who I am.
Yeah. Exactly. That's kind of where I did this one post where I said, like, I felt like hip hop is becoming the new punk rock, and if you kind of see where a lot of it is going, you see similar grassroots movements,
Mhm.
but there's a big rebellion in hip hop, and it's made me feel a little less alone, because I always felt like I was the weird metalhead that was a rapper, and people are like, well, you don't look like one, you don't sound like one, and stuff like that. And then, I think there was a very limited time where it got to me.
Mm.
And then I kind of just said, you know what, fuck these people. I'm just going to keep going, and I'm just
Yep.
going to keep making it more and more me. But then you see guys like Tom McDonald, who looks like he would be in a rock band.
You have no,
And then,
you have no
what-
idea how many times I've mentioned Tom McDonald to some friends or you, and they go,
Yeah.
wait, he's a rap. What is his name? He's
Yeah.
a rapper?
Yeah. But what
I'm
really
like,
woke me up,
yeah.
that's true. But what really woke me up was when I discovered Little Peep, and then when I discovered Ghostmane. I saw the Netflix documentary on Little Peep, and like, what he did was, he was a punk kid, but he took like the sound of like My Chemical Romance or Fall Out Boy, and he did it to like these trap rap beats, and he
Right.
created a whole new genre. And Ghostmane used to be in doom metal bands. He used to be in hardcore bands, and he
They're
looks like he
sick.
literally looks like he'd be in Cradle of Filth.
Yeah.
But he does his own style. He plays with a live drummer and a guitar player, and but he's literally like, I saw a concert of his, and they get on stage, and you think you're looking at, like a black metal band, because his whole outlook. But then he'll do some, he'll have rap songs, he'll have stuff where he's doing death metal growls, and
Yeah.
you're sitting here watching. He's like, this dude's turning rap fans into metalheads. This is, so.
Which is awesome.
But that's with the West Coast. The West Coast is there's a really thick movement for former metalheads, former punk, Suicide Boys. They're all like old school punk kids, and stuff like that. And so they got really huge. And so there's just a new movement coming, where like, hey, where like metalheads and punk rockers and hardcore kids and goth kids are making their own style of hip hop.
Yep.
And yeah, it's a new movement, and I wasn't even aware of this movement until probably like a couple years ago, and even just recently. So for me, it was just kind of like, okay, I kind of found like I kind of don't feel alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Okay,
it's kind of
so with this whole you just made me come up with a question, and I'm really curious as to your answer to this. Okay, so we both agree that it's obviously something where, as a musician, you want to be able to expand upon your creativity as an artist, right? You want to be able to go from this point to that point, where you want to be able to do things and intertwine, just because we're those kinds of artists, right? So I think you're there. Let's right in the middle of the question. Are you still there? Hey.
okay.
Yeah, it kept giving me
Okay.
that your side was having some poor network something.
Yeah, I was just closing windows, so I figured, okay, it's probably too many windows open.
Gotcha. Okay, everything is good. I don't even remember what we were last
Okay.
talking about.
Damn. It was gonna be something good. Well, we were talking about how rappers were doing free meet and greets,
Yes.
and then you had something. Okay.
Yeah, I did. And well, I think in the end,
What, they cut all that?
it what it means is for us to just do the right thing, meet your people, meet your people.
Yeah.
That's the end of that one. I definitely
Right.
I want to make sure we get this last song in. So this last song is a really, really good song, and this is Pandemic. So tell me a little bit about Pandemic.
I mean, that's pretty straightforward. I I wrote this like immediate. I think it was 2 or 3 days when I got back home after I had to cancel the tour.
Oh wow.
And I just you get on you turn on TV, and then it's just shit's going down, and I'm like, all right, well, this is pretty much our lives for, I guess, for as long as we know. And then there was a rapper slash singer from Denton, Texas, called Character. Every time I done a show in Denton, he helped me provide the venue. And then he was actually on tour as well. He had to cancel the rest of his. Him and Brozowski, who, me and him got really cool. I let them crash at my place. They did the Tulsa gig. That was their Tulsa date for the tour. And so I had this idea, and then I just hit him up and I said, "Hey man, do you want to do this chorus?" And then he did. He sent it back to me pretty quick, and you know what I mean? So
That's
that's
awesome.
what we did. So.
Yeah, it's a really cool song, and it's got like like the bits on it are really cool too.
Yeah. I went on. I always go on YouTube looking for like sample little sample movie bites, where they make whatever you call it. I've been using those for probably as long as I remember. It just helps you tell a story, I think.
Well, I love the fact that you've done a couple of these songs during this this time frame. I think it's truly important to have these songs, because we need these songs to like go to and be like, I'm mad. You know what I'm saying? It's stupid. And and to listen to it. And I've seen some that have done comedic sides of this as well, which is good too. I think in this time of need, a lot of us need a little laughter in our life. It's got a little crazy out there. It's a crazy time to be living, for real.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here you go, guys. This is Pandemic, and this is by Had Enough.
Yeah. seen the booth in a day of minutes. All I see is people in a panic. Fights at Walmart over a can of spam, you goddamn cynics. I'm at home with liquor to drink with a chaser. Netflix and chill alone, sorry girl, see you later. Feels like I'm living in a movie, seeing danger. Is it Dawn of the Dead or 28 weeks later?
28 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes,
Oh shit,
and 12 seconds.
oh shit.
That is when shit actually goes.
Feeling like a freak in a frenzy. Captain Doors, pandemic, no company. Spot them, but I'm giving to my gluttony. This quarantine is what will kill me.
Why you wear, oh my god, that stupid man suit?
What the fuck, what the fuck? Shit got real. Restaurants, clubs, and bars closed. All I can do is get on the mic and let these bars flow. Doing all I can on what I can embark though. Did the Simpsons predict this too? What did Bart know? Conspiracy theories out the wazoo. Alex like to bark though. Saying the government's gonna enact a be smart with a barcode. Cabin fever gonna take a toll on me real hard, yo. But if this is the end of the world, I'ma laugh at all the darko. Feeling like a freak in a frenzy. Captain Doors, pandemic, no company. Spot them, but I'm giving to my gluttony. This quarantine is what will kill me. Feeling like a freak in a frenzy. Captain Doors, pandemic, no company. Spot them, but I'm giving to my gluttony. This quarantine is what will kill me.
Oh, love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much for joining me on this interview. Is there anything that you'd like to tell anybody out there, that's maybe like trying to start what you're doing or anything like that? As for a musician, artist, solo artist, anything like that?
It's just be very patient because it's a slow startup, and really, in this day and age, you can spend $400 and get a pretty decent home studio, and just this sounds very generic, but just be yourself. I don't feel like you have to sound like I thought about most of it, but just try to find try to tell the story that you want to tell, and that's really it. I mean, it's just it's kind of hard to explain, really. It's because I can't, the whole generically used, and then it's kind of like, well, what does that really mean? And if you have your own unique style that you want to, my thing is I always want to make music that I feel like wasn't out there. So if you feel like there's a style of music that you really think would be really cool and you think you can uniquely create it, then I say go for it, because you can start a whole new movement, and I would like to see more artists do that. So.
Absolutely. I think it's our time to do that as well. I mean, we've had so many amazing artists in our past that have done that for us. And I think it's our time to create as well. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Brandon, I tell you what, I love you so much. You are such an amazing person, and your art is amazing. And I can see so much going for you in the future. Don't give up, because you got so much going for you. And
I appreciate it.
This is a crazy, crazy time to be living. But I look forward to, after coming out of this, to working with you at some point for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, good luck. I mean, just a reminder, Wednesday, correct. Brandon, Wednesday is when your debut is coming out on Bandcamp.
That's correct.
All right.
Stir Crazy. I think I think it'll be quite relatable. So
Absolutely.
It's
Well,
not.
I did have somebody on Monday, but I can move yours to Monday so that way people can know. So that way they'll be able to go to your Bandcamp. And especially when you have a new release coming out, that's kind of takes precedence. So
Yeah.
I'll definitely move you to Monday to make sure that this
Okay.
gets aired. We're going to be in the chat room, so don't think we're not here. We are. So thank all of you for joining in on this amazing radio station interview and this podcast. We are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, we're on the website, and we're going to be putting his stuff in rotation, if that's okay with you, Brandon.
That's great with me. Thank you.
Well, you guys have an amazing evening. If you've got anything to say to Brandon, put it in the comment section. Thank you again so much, Brandon. You are an amazing artist, and I love you to death.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
We will talk very soon.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Take easy now.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take easy now.
Take easy now. Take
Take
easy
easy
now.
now.
Take easy now. That's the new saying, don't you know? Get with it, kid. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on Quote the Raven Show. Wait till next time. We've got some amazing other bands that we're going to be interviewing, talking about some more crazy stuff that's been going on in their lives and in this pandemic, and what they've been doing to get through this time. You guys have an amazing rest of your day, and I will talk with you soon.